The Boston Bruins beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 7 and now move on to Round 2 of the NHL playoffs, where they're going to play a familiar foe in the Florida Panthers. Now, we're going to be talking about in this Game 7, as well as a small preview of what we have in this upcoming series, as a flip has been scripted for this season, and a few major injury updates ahead of this next series. Before we get into all of these updates and this news here, though, we notice that 81% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Make sure to hit the sub button. Join us along here as we cover this team heading into a huge round versus the Florida Panthers, as well as all the news that will come along with this. But like I said, let's get straight into the first topic here, which is the Bruins did it again. They have beaten the Maple Leafs once again in Game 7 on home ice, in what was a game where we saw a much better Boston Bruins team than we had seen in Games 5 and Game 6 after blowing a 3-1 lead. Team seemed like the old Boston Bruins team that we knew we needed to see if we wanted a chance here in this game. Jeremy Swayman, David Pastrnak, Hampus Lindholm, three of the top guys in this team, as well as many other players here, really showed that this team is not giving up any hope yet, and that this team has a lot left in their tank, and really showing that they want to beat Florida here in round 2. But I'm going to pull up the box score here first, and as you know, I'm sure by this point, the top dogs, like I said, Lindholm getting the goal, that amazing assist to David Pastrnak, who scored the overtime winner, got the monkey off his back, and really seemed to find his game once again here in this one, and show that, he's not gone. He's still here, just needed to get his feet under him and get back to his game. And of course, Jeremy Swayman, who once again held the Boston Bruins in this game. Another overtime win, just a fantastic series from him. And as you know from the thumbnail, he is on fire with a .950 save percentage in this series. We're going to be hinting at here in this video what we might see in the later rounds, who will start. Jeremy Swayman, leans Hallmark. Haven't seen Hallmark in a while, but it's going to be interesting, so make sure to stick around, find that out. But pull up the stat card as well here, and as you can see, the top guys once again at the top, as well as some very big shout-outs to Justin Brazeau and James Van Riemsdyk, two guys who didn't make their debut in Game 1, needed to make their way to the lineup. James Van Riemsdyk made his way back, has been playing very well ever since, and Justin Brazeau seems to finally have the feet back under him after getting hurt earlier in this season. The Justin Brazeau that we've seen come up mid-season this year really seemed to be back, and I'm very happy that he finally seems to be back to his game after getting a few games under his belt after that injury. But other than that, a lot of positives here to take away from this. Charlie McAvoy definitely made a few questionable plays, but that's all behind us now. We got to put that behind us and take it in note for next series, but we've still got to focus on what's ahead at this point now and not focus too much on the negative stuff from this series. But this series was not easy. It's not going to be an easy road ahead either, and we can't take what we had or everything that we've seen this series into the next one. We still have to acknowledge that there was a lot of mistakes made, and we needed to get better ahead of this next series. But before we do, we have a few updates regarding some injury news, which is going to be really, really big here heading into the second round. And like I said, it's going to be a really big thing from a standpoint of coming into this series ready to go, have a healthy roster and everything like that. And this was from Connor Ryan here earlier, that Don Sweeney expects all of Boston's injured skaters, which are at this point, Danton, Heinen, and Andrew Peeke, to be available at some point in the second round. Still assessing when they'll be cleared. Should have a better idea tomorrow. So very big news here for having Andrew Peeke back, Danton, Heinen, two guys that have made their way around, different sides of the team in this point, the playoffs, the regular season, trying some new things with some lines. But those are two guys that you really want to have available in your lineup. Whether or not they're starting is going to be a matter of time to see, but they're big additions to this team. Andrew Peeke, I'm sure, will definitely make his way back here at some point, but whether his role will be the same, we don't really know. It's really a point of what's going to work, what they notice is working, what's going to be a strength against the Florida Panthers. All needs to be taken into, mind for what's ahead in this series. We know Florida's no easy task. Definitely going to be a much bigger, tougher series than what we've seen in Toronto. But speaking of that, let's take a look at a little preview here. Now, I will do a bigger video tomorrow, which happens to be game day, game 1 of this series. A closer look when we start to get some ideas of who may start and whatnot here in this series. But kind of want to do a little breakdown right now, just kind of talking about it, get some conversation going, get some ideas flowing and stuff like that. And I'm going to start off here with the head-to-head matchups that we've seen between these teams this season. And you can see Florida 0-2-2 against the Bruins this season, and Boston has won all 4. And this is what it says here from the Daily Faceoff website. It goes, though Boston owned the win-loss column, 3 of the 4 meetings were decided by 1 goal this season, including 2 in overtime. Goaltending was mostly the difference. However, the Bruins were badly outchanced at 5-on-5 in all 4 meetings, but got to their goaltender, Sergei Bobrovsky, who was net for all 4 of Florida's losses, posting an .871 save percentage. Now, this is going to be a very big thing to take into consideration here in this series, is that this Florida team, I'm completely willing to say, is much better. They have no, knowledgeable, easily seen weakness, apart from some things that you might see on the analytics side. But from, just an average viewer standpoint of this, there's no real weakness here. And Sergei Bobrovsky is not like that all season. He's a Vezina finalist, and having him not play great against the Boston Bruins this year is going to be an interesting thing to see in game 1. How they attack him, how they try and get to him, try and, put some pucks on net, where they're shooting, why they're shooting in these scenarios. It's all going to take into consideration, into effect when the game 1 happens. Game 1's always a bit of a learning experience, but same thing is going to be questioned for the Boston Bruins side. Who's going to be a net for them? Now, I have some theories here as well. It's all kind of depending on what we see so far, but I have put this one here as well, the screenshot from the Athletic article from Fluto Shinzawa. And it says, on Sunday, Swayman reported to Warrior Ice Arena for his usual day after treatment. He's a fighter. Coach Jim Montgomery classified him as the number 2 behind Brad Marchand on the team in terms of competitiveness, but Swayman would never willingly cede the net to, in the playoffs, even to his good friend, netminder partner, Linus Ullmark. But so Swayman proclaimed himself as good to go on Sunday, and the sports performance staff concurred. He's in line to stay in net for game 1. But if he reported any degree of physical or mental letdown, it will be his duty to speak to the truth. In that case, the Bruins will decide to give Ullmark the game 1 nod. So if this does end up coming to fruition, if this is exactly what they plan to do, my guess is that it will be Jeremy Swayman. Once again, he seems healthy, he seems fine, and he looks ready to go, and he has this entire series. There's pictures of him in the anthems in Game 7, smiling and looking around the stadium, not even succumbing to the pressure, and that's what we want to see here for any goalie we have starting. And whether it's Ullmark or Swayman, I see no pressure from these guys coming. These are 2 very professional goalies, 2 very good goalies. I trust them in any scenario that they end up getting themselves into. But one final update here as well is kind of just the X factors from the Panthers and from the Bruins side standpoint of things. And I'm not going to read this. If you want to, you can pause, give a quick read through, but I'm just going to give a breakdown. Carter Verhaeghe has been the one for the Florida Panthers here in this playoff series. He racked up 5 goals and 9 points across 5 games against Tampa in round 1 with 1 overtime winner. So, he's playing very, very well here on a team of a lot of good players. So having some guys like this step up, not out of the blue, because he's definitely been a role player here for this team for a long time, but you need your guys like that to step up in the playoffs, and he has very much so far. But the Bruins have Jeremy Swayman. As you can see, he posted a .950 save percentage in 6 starts in this series against, I would say, a better offensive team, or better offensive stars in the Toronto Maple Leafs with Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Austin Matthews. However, they might not be healthy. Those guys still could put the puck in the back of the net whenever they want to. So I'm expecting a very good series here against the Florida Panthers. I'm very excited for it. Nervous as well, but regardless, we got out of that Game 7 against the Maple Leafs. We didn't have a flashback from the past, and now the Florida Panthers are not the hunters anymore. They become the hunted as top of the Atlantic. So I expect the Boston Bruins to come out here with a bit of firepower, a bit of a chip on their shoulder after what happened last year, and I'm expecting a very good series from both sides once again. And hopefully don't go to Game 7. That was a bit nervous, but we need to see some a nice bit of rest for these guys here. But like I said, Game 1 tomorrow. I'll be giving you guys a bigger breakdown, bigger update here from this tomorrow. But as of right now, this is all I got. If you did enjoy, make sure to give the video a like, hit the sub button as well if you don't want to miss out on any Boston Bruins news. But like I said, I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.